Okay, then you, 4, 3. We have people getting some. Right.
Right, I was there, so
Good.
I just, we need to let people in. Does it need the mouse pad to operate?
You let them in. If there are some people you've admitted.
All right, they wasn't
No.
there already.
Did you admit people or did?
No, Miguel.
Oh, Miguel does?
No, it was already there.
Okay, oh, they were already there, yeah.
Yeah.
I admitted them.
Okay.
I admitted it.
Do you want me,
I'll be back. Yeah, why don't you do an introduction? I'll be back in a minute
Sure.
and then.
but I wonder if you want to make me, co-host, I'm able to admit people from here.
Sure, do that.
That would be great.
And,
How's the French toast?
Haven't had a bite
Really
yet.
I don't know.
Bananas on it? Oh.
Yeah, well, I don't like syrup. I'm weird. I grew up with French toast with jelly on it, and I like that, and so I kind of can't eat it any other way, and I wasn't gonna take it, but he dished it up, so here I am. Right.
you stay able to see the screen,
I'll turn around.
Okay, well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. And, this is a special day for many cultures.
Mhm.
But the one thing is something new is coming out. And we're gonna talking about, my name is Miguel Briones, in St. Mark's. And welcome everyone in the Zoom, coming with us. So, I'm gonna try to provide some information and updates about, what it means the Day of Respect, for cultural diversity. I think that's a topic, we live in every day right now, and take a sense what is the meaning in our lives, and especially as a community. So we're talking about this in a minute. So when I say before, in the past, we called today the Columbus Day. Thank God it's not anymore. I think around the world. This is one of the good changes that taken happen already. But what is the cultural diversity for you? Well, I got an meaning here. This is the cultural diversity means the harmonic, respectful living together, human groups, deriving from the different ethnicities, religious, language, societies, yes, countries. This is like I mean, in general, what is the cultural diversity mean? But in this diversity, we know there are linguistic, number one, dialects or language, that is so diverse in the world, it's amazing. I was checking, and I still not, I'm from Mexico, and in Mexico, dialects, they are, I don't know, 100 dialects.
Yeah.
Well, this is beautiful, you know, this is, I mean, respecting this Spanish, the main language. But thanks to, many communities that preserve his dialect, you know, language, this is good, and also in here, this is beautiful, and around the world. So religious diversity too, and then ethnicity diversity. We can see they are, colorful in the world. So talking about this history, in the 2025, the U.S. continued the diverse nations with recent data showing a growing Hispanic and Asian population, contributing significant to the country's growth, where the white population has declined. This trend is also reflected in the increasing racial and ethnicity diversity of the Congress and the graduating class to 25 simultaneously a new report from the LGBTQ Victory Institute highlighted significant increase in the representation of the transgender genders, non-conforming and non-binary individuals since 2017. But looks like we are step back right now for this. So today is to reflect the cultural diversity has been comforted in our country since 2010, replacing the celebration the Race Day, or Dia de la Raza in Spanish, established by the decree and Dia de la Raza. Yeah, the Hipólito reunion in October 4, 2017. This is nothing new. This is time ago, in commemoration of Christopher Columbus' arrival in America. So, why is the Cultural Diversity Day, October 12th? Did they respect the cultural diversity, promote the belief that we are contributing toward society, no matter what is the heritage? Talking about contributions. The day first began recognizing the importance of the Hispanic influence on the Americas. However, as went the day, including more and more cultures, especially the Native Americans. Now the day is a public holiday for many, so they can reflect upon the countries that passed either through the celebration or the ways of the not important day. The Celebrate Cultural Diversity Day is also very individual. I want to say that because in everywhere they have their own way to celebrate the cultural diversity. Cultural and heritage means to you as a person differs from what someone else believes. So what the day is also about self-reflection, heritage as well. We can feel like a marked difference between us, but we're gonna see in which way. The day respect of cultural diversity takes up October 12th in Argentina. George mentioned something about this. But it's interesting. They start with this more important means, and especially in this country. And the countries we're celebrating is more important in the USA. For example, this day is the Columbus Day that it celebrates the arrival of Christopher Columbus on the America in 1492. And for a long time, we celebrate that. According to the National Cultural Diversity resulting from centuries of coexistence between peoples from the regions that from the rich and plural mosaic extend the alternatives and still diverse capacity, human values and worldviews, and all the wisdom to the past to prepare us for the culture. Cultural diversity can drive the sustainable development of the individuals, communities, and countries. When I say that, I would want to talk a little more about that, but the situation is that in Mexico, we realized that the conquerors come to the period of culture for the indigenous. They try to kill everyone, and it doesn't happen. And this is in many places too. We try to avoid cultures and other people different to us. This day invites us to vindicate dialogue, exchange to respect between the different cultures that coexist in our country. Let us make the richest roots continue to make our country great. This is wonderful because the Marxists have been doing that, try to reconcile and try to also to heal those harms that happened in the past. It's interesting, in Mexico last year, when we elect the first woman president, he asked because he invited many representatives of presidents and also, in Spain, he requests to Spain to apologize to Mexico for the conquest. What all could have happened? And Spain refused to do that. And they didn't attend that president ceremony. But it doesn't mean how difficult it is for recognized for some countries. But I think it was very brave for the president to request that apologize. And I think in many places in the world we have to learn to say sorry, but how it happened, you know. So I'd say in Mexico, you no longer celebrate the Columbus Day, but the Day of Multicultural Nation And they commemorate the diversity for resilience and the indigenous people and recognize the colonization and legacy of oppression. The day is no official holiday in the holidays according to the federal labor law. So where the school activities continue normally. In the past, it was a holiday. There was many institutions they closed that are here still, but not anymore in Mexico.
But now don't they, celebrate on the closest Monday? I mean, isn't that a national holiday or no?
In Mexico?
Oh,
Oh, no, in some, no,
oh, I thought you,
in
okay.
here, somewhere,
Okay.
yeah, still.
Oh, in Mexico.
Many schools do still.
Sorry.
But here is still some school or banks or
Yeah.
institutions don't open it. Like, but they start changing this now. They don't call it anymore, Columbus Day. They start being, adapting the new, language in that day. The city foster Delaware cultural identity, indigenous right to education activities, forums, debates, and richness and diversity of cultures. So this is what happened in Mexico. The new, the way that we're teaching in the schools has been changed. Now they are rescued and you have a dialogue with these communities to learn more about this and learn how we can preserve. In some areas, there's still education in some dialects, but it's beautiful. Because we are losing many language or many dialects, and they're trying to rescue and respect the traditions or identity in each communities. Again, this is something that having taken a long time that is happening already in Mexico. I mean in Mexico because it's my reference. Yeah.
Mhm.
So they have respect for cultural diversity. We see that the demographic and racial diversity, growing population. And this is stuck in the USA. The Hispanic and Asian populations have driven nation growth accounted for most of the population increase between 2022 and 2024. The white populations have been experienced as slight declining. What is this? I think what happened right now, and the way they're trying to rescue it, wrong way,
Mhm.
is what is this happen right now?
Mhm.
And but no, it's not. Immigration role. Immigration is a key factor in this growing diversity, especially for Hispanic and Asian populations. We are still or taking recognize the contributions and how we enrich, and we not be afraid to lose your identity. So generation diversity, the high school class 25 is the largest and most ethnicity diverse ever trend influenced by immigration, the peers, and the immigrants. There's reflected. We see more in high school. Well, for example, I'm come from Greenfield, and when my kids attended school, where we were only like four Latinos usually in the high school. And the family, we know each another, and we start sharing our traditions and the days like today, and the festivals, taking a different mean, and the school really appreciate it. Now I can see, because I'm back to the Greenfield school, because my grandchildren, they attended the school, and I can see the diversity how it's growing, only Latinos. We see a different kind, and this is beautiful, see especially the kids, how the interaction between the kids is beautiful. They don't have this, what's the difference. When I talk to my kids in the school, what is, if they recognize what is the racism, or if there's racism happening in the school, what is the thing? They didn't know until they back to the high school in West Chicago, where there's more mark of the population, Latinos, Anglos, and she was pretty sad, my daughter, to say that she doesn't know that until getting in there and see how they split it, the groups of the Anglos and Latinos, and also Afro Americans too. It's low numbers. But this doesn't happen, Why did this happen, with this, and I think because we are not having teaching them. So LGBTQ diversity significant increase. There has been a dramatic increase in the representation of the transgenders, non-conforming and non-binary individuals since 2017. Growth by groups, transgender have been growing by 50%, and the transgender women have increased by 75% since 2017. It's a big numbers.
Those are really big numbers.
Very few people.
But why?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, the other question is, what percentage of the total population?
Oh,
I mean, is that
Yeah,
still
right.
less than one?
Right.
still wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know.
I think they.
And those numbers threaten people who are
Right.
afraid of any kind of,
Yeah, they were
diversity, you know.
hiding the, what the.
but like Ben said, it's still a tiny percentage.
Yeah, this is like what happened every 10 years, when they start counting the population census, there's no clearing there. Because, like the Latinos, not everyone's coming out to say, I'm here,
Mhm.
for obvious situations. So, I'm pretty sure the numbers, maybe they are bigger, not only Latinos, but maybe all different, the diversity. And the reason is why, because they are afraid to coming out. That's exactly what's happening to this community of LGBTQ. We didn't give it the support to say, hey, come out, that's your part of, we inclusive with them. Presentation, the political diversity, congressional growth, the 1917 Congress, 25, 26, having record numbers of the racial and ethnicity minority senators with increasing representation for Black, Hispanic, Asian, and Native American senators. But this is good, but this is right now a big fight. Yeah. So for the first time, the Black women are serving as a senator simultaneously. This is a good data to know. 2025, and we are celebrating this for the first time. That's, I don't know.
Which seems kind of sad that we're celebrating that
But I
for the first
We have to
time.
recognize that finally they happen, you know.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the first
I'm sorry.
to go.
I was gonna say, I'd be very interested in the parallel of how many Black women make up the population of the United States
Mhm.
versus two
Mhm.
who are senators, you know. It's what we were saying earlier about the other percentages.
Yeah, and
I think it's 7% of the population, Black women. I
Mhm. Yeah, I was thinking it was around there. Mhm.
Yeah. More than you think.
think it's a total of 13% total.
I think
Right,
living in an urban area like we do, we see greater populations.
Right.
Because there is more safety there, and that's my word,
Mhm.
rather than
Right.
in the town I grew up in, if a Hispanic family or a Black family or an Asian family moved there, it would be huge.
Uh-huh.
A huge percentage, just
Yeah.
in such a small town, but
Mhm.
yeah,
North
my
Dakota.
yeah, the point is just finding a community where you are comfortable,
Mhm.
respected.
It's not, no, I understand. Religious diversity, perceived influence and June 2025 survey showed a significant increase in the numbers of Americans who believe the religious difference is growing in the USA. Of 22%, 2024, and 24% in the most recent survey. I think that March reflected something, some of it.
Is that the Christian nationalism?
That's what I was gonna say. What is
Huh?
religious influence?
Yeah, because it seems like
I mean, church attendance.
church attendance is down.
I
Yeah.
feel like part of it is the idea that the perceived idea that there's more religious influence because more and more people are bringing it into politics versus the
Right,
actual
right.
amount of people in a
Right.
religion
Mhm.
living out their religion.
That's what I think, you know, that makes sense, but it's, because-
Sure, this year with the Charlie Kirk
yeah.
assassination.
Right.
And remember, this is in diversity, not in general. I know within general,
Right.
we are
Yeah.
decreasing in numbers. But, this is what I said, this is an example of Mars House having growing, you know, the religious, when they start opening the doors for diversity. And it's still growing, you know? That's-
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, while I think we're all seeing the results of, or we're seeing the influence of Christian nationalism in particular, at the highest levels of influence and affecting policies. And that, I'm sure, does contribute to this perception. I also want to say that, that Gen Z and possibly Gen Alpha are, there is a kind of spirituality to them that is new and beautiful, and it's inclusive and it's diverse and it's reaching out in social justice. And I don't know if people see that and recognize it as religious influence, and I don't even know if they'd characterize it that way themselves, but I do think that that the spirit is definitely moving in the younger generation. So I just wanted to say that to counter some of the more negative religious influence that we might readily see.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But right now, the religious institutions to support immigration, they go to the second generation, you know, and they recognize the support and they show up.
Yeah.
They show up.
Yeah.
This is a good sign, you know. I think the way that happened, it's no freedom to express. And this is why the numbers are still a little bit confused. But right now, I can witness that how the second generation is responding and engage with the religion institutions to support the immigration in this case. But it's a good times. It's a good sign, definitely. An opportunity too. So, in terms of cultural diversity, we can see the Asian diversity, gender diversity, disability diversity, sexual orientation diversity, race diversity, religion diversity, and education diversity. So, we see the spectrum is big, you know, that is good thing that we, sometimes we don't perceive that way. That way, that is interesting.
Is the computer plugged in?
And then my battery is my, and probably that one. Oh, this is computer. They need to be plugged back.
Well, that one's not plugged in?
Yes, there's some plug. Probably is.
I mean, it looks plugged in.
Yeah.
That way.
No, that's
The audio.
something
No,
that.
yeah.
Or it's,
Oh, where's the, all right, yeah, the other side. Okay.
I have to unmute there. Now, Edna, can you hear us?
So she walked away.
I know.
She responded, she at least read my message that said we were trying to get power back, so she's seen that.
Okay.
She's coming back. Coming back.
Okay.
Okay, take care.
All right.
Okay, so cultural diversity is the presence of the wide variety of the human cultures, traditions, beliefs, and always alive within the society and the world as a whole. And it encompasses difference in language, religious, ethnicity, race, gender, sexual orientation, and disability, and socioeconomic status of the world contribute the unique individual and growing identities. So cultural diversity recognizes the respecting cultural diversity and fosters tolerance, creativity, and a richer understanding of the human behavior. This is for me very important because sometimes we don't have the tolerance for the different cultures. We are, most of the time, the first reaction is to step back away, and I would say for everyone, partially. And I think we need to start changing this. We need to learn how can we engage, how can we more creative, how can we reach understanding of the human behavior, like understand why do they react and how we react in that way. This is it's maybe a big step to becoming a multicultural, like we are so much right now.
I think for a lot of it, I think a lot of it is fear of the unknown and lack of curiosity to find out, and I think that stops people. And there is a discomfort, there's a discomfort if somebody's speaking a language you don't know, or, and it can be difficult to kind of extend yourself beyond that.
I would say that exists a natural barriers where we are afraid even to move weight, the cut this distance that we have between cultures. And but I think as soon as we start learning the language, it's not a barrier, I remember my first English class in my state. It was amazing because we got so diverse people from there. People from Vietnam, people from Russia, people from all over. And we are a few Latinos, especially in the class. But what I appreciate about this class is that we learn to communicate. In our short English, we have communication. I think for the hard part was for the Vietnamese people. They are really, really far away from the English and culture. But it was amazing because when we would start moving forward in the class, we cut the distance. So the language was never rare. Culture was never rare because we start to share traditions, And I'm sure if Anglo coming to this class, we're talking about, I don't know, but we have conversations, in our way with poor English that we have at that time. So it was amazing. I mean, this is because we need to learn, and we cut the rest of they are in there. Yes.
Well, I think, could I tell you an experience from my life? I think most people experience me as a fairly outgoing person who talks pretty easily to most people. And we spent 6 months in England where they ostensibly speak the same language as us. And I found myself becoming more withdrawn and quieter and less likely to speak because I wasn't sure if I would be understood and I wasn't sure if I could understand. And so when I look back at how I responded, it surprises me. But I do think there's that natural kind of, it's almost like an inborn fear, protection, kind of thing. If you think of yourself as somebody who like loves water, you fish and you hang out by lakes and you're really comfortable and somebody drops you in the mountains, you love the natural world, but this is a part of the world you're not familiar with. And so there's a kind of fear that comes along with that of like, well, how do I cope in this situation? And I think it brings kind of some of our almost, you know, base instincts out of like, how do we protect ourselves and make ourselves safe? I just received a text from someone who's supposed to be an usher today who said that she's just frozen because there's reports of ice activity in her area. And, you know, I'm like, take care of yourself. But it's, you know, I think that it's natural when we're in unfamiliar or to kind of have that fear instinct kind of like protects us. And I think that that becomes a barrier to getting to know people of other cultures and appreciating other cultures, because we can, if we stick with that fear, if we let that fear, and you know, if you look at what's happening right now in the world, so much of that is, or in our country, so much of it is fear-based.
Yeah, I think kids in my classroom are always terrified.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, their parents don't even send them to school half the time.
Right.
Because they're terrified.
Yeah.
And the one parent had conferences, she's like, my neighbor just got took, we ain't going anywhere. And I was like, I don't blame you.
No.
So they're not advancing in school because they're never there, because they're too afraid to come to school. And they don't talk, they're terrified of talking to anybody.
Right.
And it's just, what do you do with that? It's just fear all the time.
I know. And people think that it doesn't affect anybody who's not a criminal. And it's like, no, it affects us all. And it's, you know, but that's just, I mean, that breaks my heart to hear about those children that, but yeah.
And like, for me, I'll just have times where I'm frozen because I'm like, I am helpless in this situation.
Right.
I can't even tell them you're safe at school. I mean, my school's pretty strong on the stance that they ain't coming in,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't promise anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
But we can recognize what did happen. As anyone who's got the experience of what we are afraid, what we are quiet, what we are many times invisible. Because the other side, what we find is the real things that making us feel like that. And this is all over around the world. I can tell you, in Mexico, we are so rude with the indigenous. I can tell you that.
What?
So rude with the indigenous people.
Mm-hmm.
We don't respect them enough. We try to respect the their psychology.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the racism is still happen all around the world, not
Yeah.
on the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Class systems is another thing that we are contribute to create this. Yeah, and it's very sad, you know, for the privilege for the white people, even in Mexico, not in Mexico, you know. But we expecting that everyone is brown, but it's not. I can tell you in my family that we are 11 siblings, by the way. We are only 3 browns like that. The reason is because my mom was so white for being Mexican, but I hear that the grandparents there for French, I hear something like that. But she was so white. So most of my brothers, they are white, and not brown like me and my 2 brothers. And we make difference in the family sometimes, you know. It looks pretty, you know. I remember when like the youngest brother who was born and he was blonde hair. Funny. And everyone, oh, it's a beautiful baby. That makes me feel that, well, we are all weak. But this is the tendency that we do. We have to make this difference. Again, this all happen around the world. But we have to start recognize well with it. We listen to the mistake that we continue doing is happening. Yeah. So of the movement question. This is something abundant as the role of religious leaders, tourism and coexistence. There's a leading examples educating to the followers is what's happening here. Interfaith dialogue is also happening here. So advocacy and tolerance and encourage community engagement. This is a beautiful thing. And I think we are witnesses of that happening already here. This happens to understand how you becoming a multicultural community, and that means, and what is the challenges that we still have, you know? So the leading example, religious leaders can model pluralistic behavior on respect for other faiths. That we do, educating their followers, they can teach their communities about the importance of tolerance and understanding. Tolerance, understanding. And leading by example, religious leaders can model encouraging community engagement, promoting joint activities and projects between different religious groups, and stress the social bonds. What happened right now in Glen Ellen with all the churches that we call movement of one church, interfaith gathers, and this is wonderful. This is something that we have to continue working. So why the day is so important, the learning about different cultures and their impact can only be a good thing. The giving us the chance to get another better, plus giving more accurate idea of what history of the society are shaped by that they are. Okay. And also means that becoming more accepting and more aware of those around us. If we recognize each another's talents and their contributions, we appreciate one another more. So, what does it mean be a multicultural? An overview. Multicultural describes something that consistent and relates to include people of several different cultures, including the belief, language, custom, and traditions. And when we started to session here, this practices, there was no easy. It was some people rejected, you know. Now it's more common to see the altar, the ofrenda, on the Day of Dead, because you understand what is this about now, you know, and what does this tradition mean. And this is so welcome to the wonderful people that feel part of this congregation's community. So something we celebrate right now is the presence of the people who attended the 1 o'clock from morning attendance. We feel your support because it's when you have conversation with any family, tears is the topic for everyone. And on this, I mean, it's recreation, you know, to understand, but it's great to understand why do the people feel yeah, and how much can be affecting us also. Here an effect of multiculturalism, cultural diversity, present in many different cultures, often brought together by migration or other history factors. Consistent in that there are various cultures can live together with single society. I think this, again, the market we are experiencing this, what does this mean? Recognize the respect, acknowledges the value, the different cultural heritage and identities with a community. A multicultural example, multicultural society may have diverse food, fairs, sharing dishes, divided countries on the multicultural education. Programs can be teach world history from different cultural perspectives. So now, it's great that we can share it and be confident to do this. Because especially the people they recognize now, you know. I remember in the first Cinco de Mayo celebration where we tried to have in the menu tamales. Some people don't know how to eat tamales. They buy the tamales before to peel, you know. I mean, I don't blame you because it is something both sides, you know, one teaching to them and the other one to learn. No, assuming. But this is the example. And now everybody know what I'm talking about the Mexican food, for example, because this is our experience. But I know we are open to another traditions too. Another good example was the set in wedding.
Mhm.
The food was, the bars are good, you know, and everybody welcome, and everybody enjoyed it, you know. So it's not only the food, it's something that the other cultures and adapting them. Now, I think it's more common to see families in the store buying tortillas or tacos, you know, cilantro or avocado, they buy in the past. And you see how the diversity is expressed in the simple shopping. And this is wonderful. And how the tables change, or not tables, you know? And I think the big thing is that we are not afraid to do that anymore. This is a big man for me. So Multicultural Church main, and Multicultural Church is Christian congregation that actively engage with the integrate multiple cultures through the worship, theology, leadership programs that rather than merely having a people from diverse communities background. So sharing the theology is a big name right now. And we assuming and understand that there's something that's helping us to engage, bringing us together. I think Jesus is that his word, and we hear it in the gospel today, you know, how he's calling to be inclusive. And how to treat the foreigners, the strange, you know, the people. No, this is taking us time to understand that this is something wonderful. That how through Jesus can we recognize that we are one body. Definitely, it's a good theology, by the way. So, immigrants and cultural diversity. This is what we are right now. How we supporting. And I think that this is calling us to take a role in what's happening right now. We can't ignore what's happening right now because we understand the intentions that this administration to do this, you know, and I think there's no way, because we are moving forward, and we can still live in 200 years ago, 3,000 years ago. We are different right now, and this is what we cause. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I think that definitely learning the respect for cultural diversity, including our culture, is something different.
We need to end the Zoom,
Yeah.
then we're gonna restart it for the
Okay.
service.
We are, that's what we are done with that.
Yeah, it crashed in the middle, the.
It did.